What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all enjoying your Monday afternoon so far. And this is NYG Jeffy T85 here. And I'm going to talk about a couple of draft prospects, one at the wide receiver position and one at the offensive line position, who I could see the New York Giants potentially targeting with their first two picks in the NFL draft, this coming NFL draft overall. Now, as we all know, the New York Giants finished their season at a 9-7-1 record, and they finished with the top 25 pick in the NFL draft. So the New York Giants are going to be picking towards the end of the 2023 draft. They're picking at number 26 so far overall, and they're also picking at around number 57 overall in the second round. So the Giants are going to have some of the late round picks for this upcoming season. And you have to think, the Giants are probably going to target a couple of different positions. Now, a lot of people are going to say, you go best player available. You go best player available. Whoever comes onto the board, that's who you should target. That's the player that you should try to identify to try to bring onto the team. Obviously, that is true. If there is a player out there that is more of a best fit or a player that you just can't pass up on, of course, you're going to go out there and you're going to try to take that player because you think his value is at the same or even could be a higher value than another player that might be at a position more of need, if anything. First off, I'm going to start out with this player right here. And I'm going to talk about the 6'3", 206-pound wide receiver out of SMU, Rashee Rice, whom a lot of Giants fans have had their eye on pretty much this entire offseason, even before the end of the season this year. Giants fans have been watching this kid and watching as he started his rise and did a very good job in the Senior Bowl earlier on this month. This kid can be one of those players that can go out there and be a potential difference maker for the Giants. Rashee Rice on the 2022 season, he had 96 catches for 1,355 yards and 10 touchdowns on the season while recording 141 yards on 14 yards on those receptions overall and 15 receptions per game. This dude was unbelievable this year. Unbelievable player this year. And here's some of the features that Draft Network threw out there on why you should be looking at a player like Rashee Rice. Pretty much as a guy that you'd want to indicate or go for in terms of his play on the field. Here's the reasons why you would buy in. He's got excellent ball skills and being able to track the ball in the air. So when the ball is anywhere near his vicinity, whether it's a jump ball, whether it's a deep throw, whether the ball is anywhere near his catch radius, this is a guy that's going to either go up there and be able to make the catch, pluck the ball out of the air. He's most likely going to be able to get that ball in his hands. That is one thing I like what he does, is that he's the type of player right now that when that ball is in the air, you know Rashee Rice is going to be in the area to go up and get that ball. And he's most likely going to be able to get the ball in the indication and be able to make the catch, even in some contested traffic. Another thing, he's got great size and athleticism. 6'3", 206-pound outside wide receiver. That's the type of ex-receiver that a New York Giants team has been looking for. Now, a lot of people will say, well, we have Isaiah Hodgins, 6'4". We have Colin Johnson, 6'4". We had Kenny Golladay, 6'4". I don't think any of these guys can go up and do exactly what a Rashee Rice can do in terms of his on-the-ball, jumping up and grabbing the ball out of the air technique on the field. This guy has that type of athleticism to outmaneuver and out-physical your smaller cornerbacks on the outside. And just uses overall size to be able to take care and outmuscle these 5'10", 5'11 cornerbacks. Even though the cornerback position is starting to get more length on the outside, I think Rice is going to be able to outmaneuver some of these guys. Also, he's got that alpha mentality about him I like that. I like a wide receiver that is not afraid to go out there and show off his alpha mentality. He knows he's good. He knows he's getting that ball. He knows when that ball is anywhere near his vicinity, he is going to go up and he is going to grab that ball out of the air and not let anybody get in his way and try to stop him from making the tough contested catches out there on the football field. I like that about a wide receiver on the outside, and we have not had that type of wide receiver on the outside with the type of ball skills, physical ability, alpha mentality, and size and athleticism since we've had Plexico Burress and Hakeem Nicks on the outside. Victor Cruz was more of a route running, speed, quickness off the line type wide receiver. Same thing with Odell Beckham Jr. The Giants have not had a physical outside wide receiver with the capabilities of a Rashee Rice since Nicks and Burress and Toomer in his earlier days. This guy fits the bill. And he is one of those guys that will be able to pick up the yak. He has ability to make those defenders miss over the field and for those yards per catch. When he hits the ball in his hands, he's able to rack up that yardage for a 6'3", 206-pound wide receiver. That's impressive. That is very impressive for this kid to be able to go out there and show off those types of traits on the offensive side of the field. I love hearing about stuff like that. Love it. He also has consistent development throughout his time in college. So that pretty much means while he was in college the past 4 years, this kid just considerably got better as his career went on. He just got better. He didn't get worse. He got better throughout his career. His numbers improved. His ability in the middle of the field improved. His yards per catch improved. Everything with this kid improved over time. That's an excellent thing that you need to have. That he's showing at least the type of improvement you ask from a young player. That helps out for the New York Giants, whom they're looking for a guy to go out there and show the necessary progress needed to really make an interest on potentially drafting this kid in the draft. Now, some of the things that are a little bit causes for concern. The need to acclimate to a more diverse route tree, which pretty much means he's a very limited route runner. He's not a guy that's going to beat you with his ability as a route runner. He's only a guy that can run certain routes on the field, maybe a 9 route, maybe a quick route over the middle. That's pretty much it. He's not going to beat you with different types of route concepts on the football field, and that's a concern for a team that is looking for a wide receiver that can be able to create separation with their ability to be able to run precise and strong routes on the football field, because that's another way you could be able to create space and create separation from the cornerbacks, is if you're acceptable and you're a very good route runner on the field. Because some players that lack that extra burst, that extra speed, that extra quickness off the line to get the separation, if you are an equipped and a solid route runner, that's how you can be able to create that separation over the middle of the field. And that's exactly what this kid is lacking right now, and that's something he's going to have to learn to develop once he gets into the NFL. He also has trouble adjusting to a pro-style offense that affords him less space. Pretty much has a lot to do with the first one. Pro-style offense, chucking the ball down the field, open spaces, 50-50 balls, 9 routes, that kind of stuff. Open field. This kid has trouble when it comes to getting open in space. And he seems to be he has difficulty creating that necessary separation at the end. Which is a little bit funny, because they did say in the report about him being able to create separation and get yards after the catch. They're just saying now that he can't. It must be the different types of, route trees and stuff that they're throwing out there. And also another thing, he's developing consistency with drops. That's an immediate red flag. That to me is a red flag, because yes, there are some very good wide receivers that drop the ball a lot in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, to name a few. They all have drops issues. But at the same time, you don't want a guy that's going to be able to go out there and when you try to put the ball near his hands, he's going to put the ball on the ground. That's one thing you don't want. But a lot of the pros outweigh the cons with this kid. Now, obviously, we have to see how he's going to do in terms of the overall. We have to see how he's going to do in the combine, which is going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. He's more of a fit in the spread offense, and he can work both the slot and the outside, which is important. He's a guy that you could throw anywhere on the field. So that's very important with a guy like Rashee Rice. But I like him. I think he's one of the top wide receivers out there. I think he's definitely a guy the New York Giants should think about looking for. Now I'm going to go over to the second round. And I honestly think this guy could potentially drop. I'm starting to think maybe not because of how highly regarded he is. But I'm going to throw it out there anyway because why the hell not? Crazier things have happened with the NFL draft, and that is the 6'4", 320-pound center, senior, out of Minnesota, John Michael Schmitz, who my good buddy, Mr. Coach Ed Gladney, from Coach Ed Gladney's Amazing World of Sports, has been raving about this kid. Obviously, both of us being Rutgers Scarlet Knights fans, and how much we've watched this kid, and how he's performed. And the Giants have a clear need at the center position on going forward. This is the potential answer. If he can be there at around pick number 57. It might be difficult for him to drop to that range, but at the same time, this guy is the type of prototypical nasty center you want on your team. And the top reasons to buy in, this is from Draft Network, the top reasons to buy in this kid. Sturdy build and offers strong anchor and protection. That is right there an indication why this kid should be somebody the Giants should go out there and look to try to bring in. 6'4", 320 pounds at the center position. The Giants have been playing a lot of smaller centers out there on the football field that get sometimes overpowered by nose and defensive tackles. This kid, I don't know if he's going to be bullied in the middle of that team. He might be the one doing the bullying. He's also fluid and athletic enough to flow laterally at the point of attack. That means when he can pull out of his run. He can pull out and do good pass protection. Knock the defensive lineman off his placement, hand technique. He's also very effective at hand implementation to win first contact. This kid obviously has very good hand placement when trying to block up against the defensive and nose tackles coming in at him. He knows where to get his hands in perfect placement to try to throw off the balance of the defender in front of him and keep his balance overall. And he's also a well-tenured player who processes information in the middle well. So when there's any type of adjustments being made by the defense or by a defensive lineman, he's able to pick that up quickly, process it, and be able to make the adjustment out there to stymie the defender from trying to get in on him going forward. Now, some of the cons when it comes to Mr. Schmidt. One of the top reasons for concern. They're not sure he's an overly dynamic with plus explosiveness or flexibility. Pretty much saying that they don't know if this guy possesses those types of elite traits you're looking for at the center position. And maybe he's just not that dynamic or, skilled, dynamically overly talented a player to be able to handle against these physical and more bigger defensive tackles going in the NFL. Also, his angles in space can be tested by more rangy defenders. Case in point, it could be if they put more of a pass rusher in the middle of the defense, that he might have issues trying to catch up, which has a lot to do with footwork. Maybe he has a lot of trouble when it comes to trying to pick up the defenders coming over the middle. If they're more of speed rushers, if anything, more pass rushers than more run stuffers in the middle of the field. His pad level is something that will be a point of emphasis. Has a lot to do with his stance and his footwork. How he puts himself up in terms of his pad level and his overall effectiveness in the middle of the field. His hand placement seems to be in pretty good shape. It's just it seems like he struggles at times to try to get himself upright and trying to keep his hands in place to keep off the defender and warding them off and not allow them to push him back in the middle of the play. And I don't really find this as much of a concern, but I get why they're throwing it out there. He will be 24 years old as a rookie. Offensive linemen can go until their mid to late 30s. That to me is not that big of a concern about his age. 24 years old, to me, I'm not worried about a kid that's 24 years old. I'm not. I think that that's really just more of a, offensive lineman getting up there in age, taking a beating, for a while. Maybe he's not going to have as long of a career in the NFL. I disagree. I think this kid is one of the prototypical offensive linemen that will make an impact for whomever he gets drafted by going into the season. Namely, I'm hoping the New York Giants. But we'll have to wait and see because this is one of those kids I'm looking for. But I just wanted to go over real quickly on these two prospects. Because to me, two of the biggest needs for the New York Giants is wide receiver, a number one wide receiver on the outside, a boundary guy that could create the double teams from the defender to open up the offense for others, as well as an interior offensive lineman, namely a center for the New York Giants going forward. And I think that these two players would absolutely fit the bill of two places the New York Giants can get to help fill out two of their biggest needs going into the offseason. A lot will depend on what they do in free agency, if they make any other moves via trade, and if the New York Giants decide to move up or down in the NFL draft that comes up in late April. We'll have to wait and see. But you guys let me know in the comment section what you think about these two prospects. Rashee Rice out of SMU, the 6'3", 206-pound wide receiver, senior coming out this year, and John Michael Schmitz, the 6'4", 320-pound center coming out of Minnesota. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think about these two players right here. And if they would be excellent fits for the New York Giants. What's your pros and your cons from watching game and film on both these players during the college football season. And, of course, getting the early draft process, scouting these kids as well. You guys let me know in the comment section what you think. And of course, turn on the bell for notifications. Next video or short dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And hit that like button. It helps out the channel and it helps out the videos. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Monday afternoon/evening. Take it easy and let's go New York Football Giants. As always, together blue, everyone.